Hello there, beautiful souls and beautiful humans. How are you doing on this magnificent day? Take a deep breath in and a long breath out. Just let yourself arrive, because my goodness, it's taken me quite a lot of prep to arrive, to be ready to offer this energy update, which I had to write down because the title was so long. The Aries new moon hybrid eclipse and full moon Scorpio lunar eclipse energy update. Welcome to those of you who are new to me. I am Rosanna Rosie Glow Hannis. In fact, welcome to all of you. I am a channel of divine grace, a co-creatress of Paradise Earth, and what I do is I support people to learn how to truly shift their perception so they can shift their reality experience. And this is exactly what this wonderful opportunity that these beautiful eclipses are gifting us over the next couple of weeks. So before I go into that, if you are on my Star Piece, Manifesting Star Piece Utopia Facebook page, hey, welcome, welcome, welcome. Please do comment and say hello. If you are watching this on YouTube, then thank you so much for subscribing. Thank you for hitting the notifications tab and the all videos little option, because ultimately what I'm asking everybody to do, if you're on YouTube, please join the Facebook group. If you're on the Facebook group, please join the YouTube channel, because what we're doing is we're energizing the very things that I'm saying. So if you are resonating with these messages, if you're like, yes, let's co-create this, then as you add your energy into it, that's what we do. We amplify it and we co-create more and more of this in the collective consciousness. All that has to happen is effectively the tipping point or 100 monkey effect, and then it's in everyone's consciousness. And I've been laughing because I shared on my Facebook page recently, on my both in the Star Piece Utopia and on my main page, Rosanna Hannis, that only yesterday Russell Brand had shared a video with Graham Hancock about Atlantis, and I was like, hey, I've been talking about this and the relevance of this for the last couple of months. I got the impulse to share a retreat to offer those who are ready to activate their Atlantis master teacher codes by coming along to a retreat with me in Santorini, which is very much where Atlantis was said to have existed as landmass back in the day, whenever that exactly was. And basically, I won't go too much into that because I'm going to share another video on Monday about this, and that will be in the Star Piece Facebook group. So if you're on YouTube and you haven't yet joined the group, please do go into the text box below and you'll find the link to actually be able to join our community, because I tend to put my activation work in the Facebook group first. There's a good reason for that. We're shifting the narrative in social media. That's why it's so important. And then I'll share some of the content over onto YouTube. But for all of you right now, I invite you to grab a pen and a notebook. Just open yourself to making some notes. The things that feel really relevant to you, write them down. And anything that I say that you feel a real heart call for, like, please just share in the comments your experience, because I want to gift you some golden nuggets here to be able to make the most of these energies. And one of the first things that I was impulsed to ask everyone is, what's going on in terms of the weather patterns where you are? Because what we've had here is storms, we've had rain, we've had sunshine, we've had wind. And when people talk about physical symptoms, there's been a lot of wind, a lot of burping, a lot of flatulence, a lot of tears, a lot of volatility, if you like, sort of anger outbursts going on at the moment as we prep, as we clear space for the most phenomenal change. Okay, the beauty of this particular eclipse corridor, they're like bookends. We have the solar eclipse with this new moon, and then we have a lunar eclipse with Scorpio in 2 weeks' time at the beginning of May. And essentially, both of these amazing opportunities are to really, one, clean house and just purge what no longer serves us so we can fully step into our 5D destiny and let go of the 3D mind limitations that hold us back and keep us in struggle and suffering. And on the other hand, we're also getting the opportunity to fully claim what we have been working so hard for, what we have been intending for so long, into creation. And I read Tanaz's, I don't know if you all know foreverconscious.com, but Tanaz writes some really beautiful sharings about, well, from her astrological perspective, what's going on in the cosmos. And I really enjoyed her kind of getting us to reflect what was going on the last time there was an Aries eclipse season like the one that we're going through now, because it was actually 10 years ago, and it was back in October 2013 through to, I wrote it down, September 2015. And I'm going to go into that a little bit, because whatever was seeded then, the lessons you learned then are going to really serve you at this point. And I'll share my own experience that will really help you. But there are two key statements that I think will really support you to get what is going on right now. For those of us who are awakening our starseed consciousness, for those of us who are ready to claim, yeah, I've done the groundwork, I am now ready to step forward and do what I came here to do, which is the ballsiness and the overiness of Aries energy. It's like, yeah, bring it. But it's not just the energy of the infant Aries. This is, I would say, the evolved Aries energy, because it's actually the second new moon in Aries in this particular lunar cycle. So we had one at the end of March, and now we're having one in April. And to me, this is the higher octave of the Aries energy. It's the maturity of the Aries energy. It's the, instead of the first time round encountering that, yeah, I can do anything, and we've never experienced hardship. We have experienced hardship. We know that it's not just about my will and everything will go the way I want it to. It's about how we can actually learn and benefit from when things don't go our way, and when we do go through challenging times, and how that actually does prepare us to really own our mastery and how not to abuse our power. Because anyone who's here to support the ascension of humanity is already a master teacher on some level. But in order for us to reclaim our power, because all of us have abused it in previous lifetimes, we've all abused it on some level, whenever that was, you have to, in order to know how to not abuse it, right? It's part of the journey of growing into unity again, the wholeness of your soul. But we've promised ourselves we will test ourselves every which way we can before we reclaim our power fully in this life, so that we don't abuse it again. So here are the two statements. You might want to write them down. Perception is reality. And the second one is believe it before you see it. Like, this is the time when we recognize that we have to hold the energy of believing before we actually see evidence in the physical reality. And in holding that energy of believing, we will start to see evidence in our physical reality. And I got so excited the other day when my beautiful beloved husband Ian sent me an invite to an event that Matthew McConaughey is doing on the 24th of this month. Again, I'll put a link in about him. Now, he's one of my absolute heroes, total starseed. I would call an evolved masculine, in the same way I'd say about Russell Brand, you know, master teachers, I would say, from the time of Atlantis, who have come back to this earth at this time to support humanity's ascension. And both these beautiful souls are doing things to support all of us to remember that as we shift our perception, we shift our reality, our experience of reality. And his event is The Art of Living, I think it's called. And I'm really excited about it. So I'm excited to join it. And I'm excited that this is happening in the collective, because there was already something like 350,000 people that had signed up to the Facebook group, which says to me, wow, this is a massive movement. Russell Brand's got at least 5 million followers now on his YouTube channel. This is awesome. This is great. This is what we need and what we want, because it is the remedy to the patriarchal sort of paradigm and the suppression that we've all been through for so long. And there's going to be such a rewrite of history, my beloveds. Like, it's an exciting time to be alive. We've come here for a reason. You know, we've come to remember what we already knew. We planted the seeds here, and I'm not going to spoil what the video is about on Monday, but the title is Atlantis, Christ, ETs, and the Crystalline Grid. Okay, and I'm going to be sharing that in the full moon, in the Manifesting Star Peace Utopia Facebook group. It'll probably be at 5:55 p.m. UK time, BST. It might be a little bit later than that, but I will share that and then share it across to YouTube in due course. And well, actually, I might not do that. So it's definitely going to be in Facebook. So if you want to catch it, then please do go ahead there. And then on Wednesday, this will exclusively be in the Facebook group for sure. I will be sharing the new moon lunar eclipse activation, because I've been given a whole load of things to go through with people to support each and every one of us to get over how our mind, our programming keeps us stuck in the old reality, and how to activate 5D frequencies in us. So I'm a Paradise Earth Code Keeper. I'm a spokes being for the intergalactic super federation. And again, as far-fetched as that might sound to some of you, what that really is about the peace frequencies in our universe. And what we understand God to be, for example, is a very interesting thing in itself. There's God, and I'm not going to go too far into it, but let's just say there's a God of this universe, and there's a God of the multiverse, and there's a God of the omniverse, and it's the all that is concept. But in this universe, our Godhead, if you like, is this masculine feminine hybrid that is the codes of the yin and the yang, the passive and the aggressive, contraction and expansion. But we are moving beyond duality into oneness. And in order to do that in our collective, we have to do it in ourselves first. So here's what came through at 3:33 a.m. last night, or this morning, I should say, when I woke up and received the full download for this particular update. So we are post-equinox, pre-solstice. It's important for us to remember where we are energetically. And this is a time when we're getting to see things that were really difficult to see before. This is the time we're getting to question things that before we daren't question. It wasn't appropriate. We weren't allowed to. There was a fear of maybe being ridiculed or ostracized. And yet there's more and more mounting evidence to suggest that actually now it's really important for all of us to do due diligence, for all of us to practice discernment and consider not just in our own lives, but also in the collective, where we need to revisit some of the decisions that we have made, some of the assumptions that we have made, now that we've got more light in day to be able to see the shadows and go, can I see this a different way now? How can I see things in a way that allows a more empowering perspective for all? And we've just been going through a mass terror reign, for want of a better word. And there is a very strong relationship between where we are currently in the world and the time of Atlantis. And even, how would I put this? The time when, well, there's a link to Noah's Ark. There's a link to whether we feel we need to be saved or we're actually going to save ourselves. I'll save this for Monday and I'll save it for Wednesday. But for now, sticking to the update and just giving you little tidbits. What we really want to do is take a moment to remember that everything is happening for us. Now, I asked you to consider 10 years ago where you were at from October 2013 to September 2015. What was going on in your life? Maybe just a little bit before and a little bit after as well. But like in my world, here's what happened. What I thought was an absolute dream come true happened. Something I had hoped would happen, but I never imagined it would actually happen. And what appeared to be my worst nightmare also happened. And here's the interesting thing. They both taught me something I didn't expect. The first thing was that what I thought I really, really wanted actually was never going to be as satisfying or as fulfilling as I had hoped it would be. I had intended it to be. I imagined it to be. And I had to see it for what it was and practice discernment, practice speaking my truth and my voice, owning what I really wanted and needed, and also accepting that however I felt, I couldn't be matched where I wanted to be matched. Now, the second thing, which was the worst possible thing that could happen at the time, ended up being the best thing that could happen to me because it actually catapulted me into a whole new reality. So if I'll get a little bit more real about this for you. So the first thing was my first ever love showed back up in my life. And this was, if you like, an unrequited love, or a love that had never been consummated, never been resolved. We kind of met up 10 years before and there was this choice point, and basically he ended up with another woman, and then they ended up having 3 kids together. And, this was the guy that when I first met him, I couldn't sleep or eat, for 2 years. My whole life depended on whether he said hello to me when I was like an 11-year-old, right? So this was like a deep, strong, energetic connection with someone from before, you can imagine. You haven't read all the romance books, etc. It's purely from my conditioning. It was a very strong connection, perhaps a false twin. Who knows, how we want to actually give it a label. We don't need to, but it was a very strong emotional soul connection. And yeah, as I said, so 10 years have gone by, well, even 15 years have gone by from when I first met him, and we got the opportunity to connect and didn't happen. And then another 10 years on, he's now in a situation where he'd separated from his partner, and we had the opportunity to catch up. In fact, we met up somewhere called Paradise Street. Like, it was insane. Like, you couldn't make this up. But anyway, the long and short of it was that something that I had wanted to happen for so long that I totally let go of. I got on with my life, you know, just put it on the shelf, came off the shelf for review. And it looked like there was the opportunity to really actualize this, to really have a potential future with it. And yet, the more I stood in my truth, the more I honored my lessons, my learnings, the woman I had become in all of this time, and stood in who I was and said, meet me here. I had to accept, as much as I wanted it to be different, this person couldn't meet me where I really wanted to be met. I didn't have it in them. They had some other priorities that were important, and I totally respect and understand that, and made some choices that were for their best. But in the end, we did not come together, not for the long term. And I have my wonderful, wonderful husband in my life now, who is such a beautiful, beautiful match for me. And now that makes sense. But then it didn't, right? So it was another thing that got put back on the shelf, question mark. Don't know what happened there. Plant a mystery flag. It will reveal itself in due course. Now, the thing that was really challenging for me was that I had, you know, this was how many years since my mum had passed? 4 years, 13. So yeah, 4 years since my mum had passed. And I've been living in my family home. Now, I'm one of 5 siblings, so 3 stepsisters and two sort of blood sisters. And I'd been living in this home rent-free for quite a while. The intention had always been that my mum and stepdad would have a place to live. So it was their home as well as mine, but my mum had passed some years before. And it came to the point that my family members very lovingly said to me, you're going to need to move now and we need to sell the house. And I was just like, oh no, I'm being kicked out, I'm being rejected, abandoned, betrayed, all the stories, right? And I had to muster such strength in me to actually go, you know what? This is going to be the best thing that's ever happened to me. And actually, here's the beauty of it. It was the best thing that ever happened to me because it got me out of Croydon, where I'd been for years and felt like I couldn't leave. I was sort of stuck in a genetic vortex there. And it catapulted me to Brighton. It catapulted me into a whole new career. So I'd been running a yoga business for years, which wasn't making me any money. It was hard work for all the effort involved, although it was supporting many people to grow. And this was when my coaching journey started. This was when I started to do the work that I do today. And you know, as I said, from this very challenging situation, something amazing came about. And I want to share these personal stories with you because I think it's so important to be able to reflect on things that happen in our own lives, because all of us have a little inner victim. All of us have a little story that we like to nurse. It's a little wound that we rub salt into and go, oh, that hurts. And it's like, hold on a minute. The whole beauty of this eclipse season is to go, all right, what did I encounter 10 years ago? What have I learned from that? I've learned to see things differently. I've learned to ask the question when things don't go my way, as I perceive it from my small self, how can this be the best thing that ever happened to me? Whatever challenge you're facing today, whatever comes up in the next few weeks, the next couple of years, how can this be the best thing that's ever happened to me? And when something does look like it's going your way and, you know, it's payday, you're getting everything you've ever wanted, show up. Don't abandon yourself. Go back to discernment. Okay, this is looking good on the surface. But is there a part of me that I'm having to betray or abandon or reject in order to have this? Right? So it's that whole, there's a beautiful Chinese proverb about this, the good luck, bad luck one. And I just invite you in the maturity of this Aries energy to recognize that actually, you know, you're long in the tooth now. You've got the experience behind you to go, all right, I can see this whole thing as an adventure. And, you know, only yesterday, like, you might not know this about me, but I'm not great with surprises. Okay. I like to know what's coming. Is it a control freak element of me? Oh yeah, definitely. And my beloved had booked for us to go out for a lovely dinner, but I hadn't anticipated the kind of dinner it was going to be. And so in my head, I had this sort of idea and it was different. And that was quite prickly and quite sort of not really very receptive to the experience to start with. And it ended up being absolutely amazing. It ended up being so much better than I expected, but it just wasn't what I expected. So I was on the back foot when I arrived. And he's such a great teacher to me of actually opening up to new experiences, to keeping an open mind, to being curious rather than judgmental. But all of us know when we've expected something to go a certain way and it doesn't, that it does create some kind of constriction. So this is another key thing for you to take on board now as you work with the energies of these upcoming eclipses, is to stay elastic, to stay flexible, to be like bamboo, strong but flexible, okay? To allow yourself to adjust your perception of things when it seems as though they're not as you expect or want them to be. And remember that anything that doesn't go the way you want it to, anything that seems like it's being taken away from you, is going to be replaced with something better. That is absolutely guaranteed. The part of you, your God self, that goes, you think you want this, sweetheart, but this isn't really what you want. It's just a fantasy. Will take something away, which will seem to you like a loss. And it's that absolute faith to go, all right, there's a space now for this to be replaced with something better. What do I want that's better than this? What could be better than this? Because in the example of love, right, it's all well and good you having all the feels for someone, but if they don't have the same feels for you back, and even if they do, but they can't actually match you and meet you where you want to be met, you're never going to be happy. You're never going to be fulfilled, right? Not in that relationship. So do yourself a favor, step back, remember your worth, remember what your intrinsic worth, and that you are deserving of more, and allow yourself to be pleasantly surprised. Because I could not have written my life the way it is, and I'm so glad that I didn't write it all. Now I can co-create my reality from the perspective of, this is what I think I want, so I'm going to own it, but I'm going to surrender it to the highest good of all. I'm going to surrender it to the win-win-win. I'm going to surrender it to being better than I expect, because this is what my limited self has come up with. But what else is possible? So these are the key mindset shifts for you to be able to surf the edge of the unknown, surf the edge of the unfamiliar, because that's exactly what we're doing. So that's that. Please do let me know. I love to hear others' stories. I love to hear your own insights and how you kind of break through and move from one limited space into a more expanded space. And I want to say to everyone who is on a spiritual journey and a healing journey that there is a difference between endlessly working on ourselves and recognizing that we are constantly upgrading. So there's a time to stabilize, there's a time to grow. There's a time to stabilize and a time to grow. And if you are practicing due diligence, if you are showing up for yourself, rather than, doing the work is a way of saying it, but showing up for yourself, then when you come to eclipse season, it's awesome. It's when you actually get to see, wow, whew, this is when I get to enjoy the meal that I've been preparing for, right? This is when I get to enjoy the fruits of my labor, right? So particularly at this time, we have gone through a massive energy upgrade. It's been going on for the last few weeks, been going on from before the equinox through to now. And we've kind of reached a new altitude, okay? So, if you want to co-create from a 5D perspective, it's very different to co-creating from a 4D perspective. And I will make a video specifically about that, because if you're anything like me, when you kind of get really into manifesting and like setting intentions and the way I would describe it is, do your manifesting rituals backfire on you, right? Because what I've noticed from a sort of 4D perspective is, we have an intention and then we kind of bring in our logical mind to work out how we're actually going to achieve what it is we want. And that's all well and good, but you can get really caught up in the detail. And in so doing, it's a bit like wanting to lose weight. Say you decide that you want to lose weight, you want to lose X amount of however much, a few kilos or whatever, right? So then you're like, right, I'm going to weigh all my food. I'm going to weigh myself every day, which some schools of thought say you should do that. Others say you shouldn't. But, I'm going to measure myself. I'm going to measure all my food. I'm going to have this very disciplined regime rather than listen to my body. And that backfires. For others, it doesn't. It goes the way that they want. And it does depend on what path you're actually on. So on the path that I'm on, what is important is to set the intention, to get into the feeling vibration of it, and then let go of attachment to outcome. What is the best way I can achieve this today? How can my body, mind, spirit line up with this today? rather than I have to do it this way, because getting obsessive about stuff pushes away the very things that we want. And whenever I've gone, oh, I have to, this thing can come into my life, but it has to be this way. I'm going to attract this many clients, or this much. I don't even know what other example to give you, but when you get really specific about how things actually have to come about, that actually blocks the flow. So when you are a multidimensional being, when you are learning to co-create in a new paradigm, which is the quantum paradigm, it's very different to the old ways of co-creating or manifesting. And I think it's really important to remember that, because if your old tools are not working for you anymore, sweetheart, you are ready for some new ones. And that's exactly why I teach what I do, because I teach simple structures that allow us to be able to actually co-create without being obsessed and attached to outcomes in the way that take us back into old ways. So just bear that in mind. If you'd like to know more, you can always book a desire mapping call with me, and I'll put the link in the text box below. Now, physical symptoms that have been going on. As I said, lots of wind. So flatulence, burping, weight gain potentially, disturbed sleep, vivid dreams, digestive issues. So, you know, for many, their IBS will be kind of acute at the moment, or constipation, moodiness. What else did I write here? I can't even read my own writing. So the question is, what are you holding on to? Let that shit go. Okay, so I want to go over here, but I want to take all this stuff with me. No, it's not going to happen. You can't take life hates me, life doesn't work out for me, I always have to work hard, struggling is the only way, if I don't struggle then it's not worth it. You can't take all that stuff with you over here. All right. And the very interesting thing about this particular eclipse is it's a hybrid eclipse. And I love this because we're all hybrid humans, right? It is a hybrid between an annular eclipse, which is a ring of fire style eclipse, and a total eclipse when the sun blocks the moon. I think it is. It's the other way around. I can't remember. But the point of this is the ring of fire is something that women, when they give birth, become very aware of, because if you're having a birth where you haven't had analgesia, so you haven't been numbed, and you're having a vaginal birth, so the baby's coming out through the birth canal, when the baby's head is starting to move through the perineum, so it's just about to be born, the perineal tissue stretches so much that it feels like a ring of fire. If you want to have a sense of what that's like, do this. And you'll feel there's a kind of like burning, tingling sensation just here, right? And that's the ring of fire energy, right? So this is the discomfort of birthing a new part of ourselves. And a total eclipse is when we're suddenly shut in the dark and we can't see anything, and it's terrifying just for a moment. And then, oh, there's the light again. So being temporarily scared, being temporarily unsure, being temporarily uncomfortable, these are all good signs, my friends, that we are stepping into a whole new paradigm. We're having a quantum shift. It's like the hyperdrive, if you've ever watched sci-fi TV series and movies. Hyperdrive, when you kind of, you know, you've been going certain speed and then go boom, and you enter into a whole other frequency. So just checking if there's anything else coming out for that. No, that's it. Let's carry on. So irrational fears, self-attack thoughts, criticism, judgment, all rife at this time. Remember, it's all at the time just before the new moon. It's quite common to feel all of these things. And as I said, the weather is really telling us what's going on. Certainly think about local to you, or even where you're from will give you a sense of what's really going on, because these are the purges that are required. I couldn't actually, I couldn't do this live until I'd actually cleared my office. My office has been long overdue a spring clean. There was paperwork everywhere, and I just cannot work. Although I'm a creative, when everything's like that, it just is really disturbing for me. And I am not naturally a super tidy person. So I had to spend time putting everything away, creating a new filing system that worked for me, and getting rid of stuff I really didn't need anymore. It meant nothing to me anymore. So let it go, right? Same thing for you. If you want to bring in the new, then embrace letting go of the old. Here's how to navigate these energies presently. Be discerning. So be discerning about what you're hearing, about whether you believe it or not, about whether it's right or not for you. Just because an opportunity is being presented doesn't mean it's the right thing for you. Your heart will know, but your mind will argue. So pay attention to that. Shift perspective. How can this be a good thing? What else is possible when it seems like you've only got limitations in your life? Choose to see through eyes of love. And this leads me to turn triggers into glimmers. And I'm going to read out what glimmers are in a moment, because glimmers are so cool. And this was sent by one of my beautiful clients, Anne, in my membership space. Embrace the unexpected. It is uncomfortable because it's familiar. Sorry, because it's unfamiliar. So if you're in an uncomfortable place, it's because it's an unfamiliar place. You don't have a program for it. So enjoy being in that uncomfortable, unfamiliar place. That's where you're going to start to receive the things you want. Are you ready? How long do you need to work on yourself or work with someone before you're like, I can show up and shine at this point? I know what I'm talking about. I know what I bring to the table. Own it. Whatever you weren't sure about 10 years ago, you do know now, right? Whatever you weren't sure how to navigate 10 years ago, you do now. You've got that discerning edge in you that can go, sounds nice, but doesn't feel right. Okay. Oh, I'm feeling scared. Great opportunity to grow. Let's embrace it. Align with the highest good and the win-win-win, always. And be curious rather than judgmental about resistance, contraction, and frustration. So call in the divine to every situation. How can I see this in the best possible light? So if you're tired, rest. If you've got a load of nervous energy, get it out, right? Move it through you. If you feeling like a whole load of shoulds are on your shoulders, drop them, okay? Always remember your breath. Always remember the importance of rest. Also, always remember the importance of moving your body and exercising. And, you know, if you're in a sluggish phase, move it through you. Now, a lot of us are letting go of old patterns and habits, addictive behaviors and suppression behaviors. I'm 2 months into no longer being a smoker, and it's really, really cool, because even though I'd totally minimized it in my life, it was still something I identified with, and now I don't. And it is a bit of a strange thing. And it's like, what do I do with myself instead? And I've been exploring all these awesome tinctures and oils and different things that I can kind of play with, that I'm more sensitive to now, because, you know, I've got that sensitivity back. But it's like, for everything you let go of, you do need to replace it with something else. And we are by nature creatures of habit. So we build patterns, we build habits up by repetition. So however long you've been repeating another habit, be patient with yourself to create your new one. And I think that is more or less it. Let's just see. So let's just go into what we're actually going to be doing over the next couple of weeks. Next week on Monday, as I said, I'm going to be sharing a video about Atlantis, about Christ, the crystalline grid, and extraterrestrials, and the link to what I'm doing in Santorini at the beginning of May, and what we're being called to as a humanity, because my channelings, as they come through, come direct. They're not read from other people's stuff. It used to be a long time ago, but I've learned to really trust what comes through. And sometimes the timelines don't make sense. Like at the moment, I'm making a connection between Atlantis and Noah's Ark, for example. But when I do the research around it, it's thousands of years out. However, there's something that's talking to me about this. And also the difference between mythical creatures that don't need saving because we're multidimensional. We're not mythical at all, we're just multidimensional, whether we're a phoenix, a dragon, or a unicorn energetically, and those who are seeking to be saved and seeking constantly to give their power away. And actually, you know, even how the concept of a patriarchal God came about. So I'm excited to share that with you. That will be on Monday. As I said, I will announce the time a little later. So please do look out for a little message on YouTube and also in the Star Peace group as to what time that will be. But it'll probably be 5:55 p.m. on Monday, which I think is the 17th. And then on Wednesday, the 19th, I'm going to be hosting the new moon activation. That will be at 1 p.m. BST. So this is all British Standard Time presently in the Star Peace Utopia group. So if you haven't joined that on Facebook, please do. I'll put the link in the text box once I've published this. And what I'm going to be doing is how your 3D mind blocks your 5D destiny and what will build your 4D bridge across. I'm going to be talking about that so you can really meet your resistance with love. Okay, aside from that, main thing is, if you haven't yet joined me for multidimensional yoga, I offer this twice a week online. And it's live with me presently. I've got a whole host of other teachers that are going to be joining me soon. And we've got a wonderful membership coming because we've got an app that we're building. So I'm really excited about that. If you haven't tried it yet, give it a go. First class is a tenner. Otherwise, it's £48 a month for the 2 classes a week and a backlog, a library that you can come back to. So you could do yoga every day if you want. Multidimensional yoga, what is it? Come and find out. It's, again, a hybrid of all the different styles that I've learned over the years, but essentially it's about activating earth chakra and soul chakra. So you're not stuck within the seven chakra system. You're not stuck within the old confines of old energetic structures. You're actually creating new ones and activating your own personal light body so that you are soul-led rather than ego-led or conditioning-led. Very powerful, beautiful stuff. If you don't know this about me yet, I've spent years and years as a fertility, pregnancy, birth, postnatal yoga teacher, women's yoga teacher, and I used to work with high performance athletes, mainly men, who I used to teach these methods too, because we all need the opposite too. And if you don't know this yet, the yoga that's in the West is primarily for the male body. It's not for the female body. So we need to remember how to access our creative, sexual and fertile power. And that's exactly what I do. And for those of you who'd like to know more about Atlantis, I'll put about the Santorini retreat, which is the Paradise Earth Codes retreat, the Divine Human Integration retreat. I've given it many names. This is all going to be in the text box below. You can have a look at the link. I've got a whole page which has 2 PDFs on it that will tell you about the itinerary, the accommodation, the fees involved, etc. If you'd like to join us. There's no time to waste, my friends. We're going to be hosting the retreat Zoom on Sunday the 23rd. That's St. George's Day, ahead of us actually meeting up a week later. So please do let me know ASAP if you'd like to come along. And there are options to share if it's not sort of available to you to have a suite on your own. There's all sorts of options. You just have to step forward and say yes. And then the universe, i.e. you, your higher self, does the rest. And if you would like to know more about my 6-month Divine Human Upgrade coaching program, which takes you out of the fear matrix fully and teaches you how to live in the Divine Human Matrix, then please, again, let me know. The key thing is to book a desire mapping call and we'll take things from there. Till I see you on Monday, wishing you all so much love, reminding you that eclipses are a cosmic reset, and yeah, this is a really wonderful time for us to fully step into our power as co-creators of our reality. Let me finish with these little glimmers. So how you turn triggers into glimmers. Glimmers are the opposite of triggers. They are tiny moments of awe. They spark joy and evoke inner calm. They have a positive effect on our mental health. They are micro moments causing tiny mood shifts. They send cues of safety to our nervous system. They bring feelings of ease and contentment. Our bodies respond with positive energy. They allow us to feel hope when we're lost. Our nervous system is strengthened by them. They can help increase our well-being. Once we start embracing them, it can become a beautiful way to see the world around you. And this is it. As we change our view, the world around us changes. So you can look up at Helen Marie. So if you put a dot between each of those, at Helen Marie, I'll put that in the text box for you as well. That came from her. And if you want some more instruction on this, then head over to starpeaceconsciousness.com. This is my free movement. It's for everybody. And it's all about creating the perception shift in your own life. How you talk about things, how you share things, how you see things, how you put a positive spin on things, how you don't shine the shit and spiritually bypass stuff, but actually choose the stuff that does trigger you in the world and turn it into glimmers. So if you would like to participate in the Star Peace movement, there's a manifesto there. There's a whole load of ways that you can actually start shifting how you show up on social media, and an opportunity to basically join the energizers, the builders and the architects of this new earth paradigm. I'm so excited. I love you all so much. Thank you so much for joining me for this energy update. Please do comment and let me know how you've experienced it. If there's any big aha moments, share them so we can amplify them. And again, if you haven't yet subscribed, please subscribe to the channel, hit the notifications tab and the all videos bit. And also, if you haven't yet joined the Facebook group, then please head over and join my private community. It's free. I love you. It's where we energize things, baby. Take care for now. Have a beautiful day.